Armored Core. So, I gotta be honest, before the announcement of Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, I didn't even hear about the franchise at all. My friend sent the trailer to me because he's a big From Software fan, and I was really confused but excited at the same time. I got confused because how could I never hear about these games after all these years and all this recent hype around From Software? I like and appreciate From Software, although I only have Bloodborne and Dark Souls 1 from them. But back to my reaction. I was confused and excited. Excited because, damn, these are giant mechs fighting each other! I don't know what is it with Japan and giant robots, but for some baffling reason, they are like a steak and wine, or an icy coke on a hot summer day, or your nose and a tissue when you catch a cold. It's a match made in heaven. And I got curious because I like From Software and I like PlayStation 1 games, so if we combine the two together, then we get a few interesting results, but for this video we will be talking about Armored Core 1 because I just really wanted to try out the older entries, and since I'm a slave of my ideologies and I just can't go out of order, I had to start with Armored Core 1 on the PlayStation 1. But before we deploy to this crazy mission full of giant robots that can tear you apart and also get you to bankruptcy, I would like to interest you with the subscribe button down below. I hear it can help you defend yourself and someone who is definitely not me tries to crush you with a giant mech. I'm not trying to frighten you, I'm just here to warn you. Are you done? Alright, perfect. So, Armored Core 1. As much as I was surprised that this series exists at all, I had to admit that I was just dumb. As always. Because the series has been around since the Mesopotamians, that being 1997. But in my defense, the last entry in the series came out 10 years ago, so I downloaded Armored Core 1 and I was ready to go. So, the game is set in the far future of God knows when the humanity was forced underground because of war known as the Great Destruction. Two giant corporations are on top and they are fighting over who to be the toppest, Chrome and Murakumo Millennium. Most of your missions will come from them, and mostly it will contain either A. shit-talking the other corpo, B. explaining your mission and goals, or C. all of the above. But who are you mysterious person? You are a raven, and ravens are a mercenary group and also a very cute bird, but in the AC universe they are probably dead, so don't bother. So yeah, you are a mercenary, and this game 100% captures the mercenary feeling. There are some games that revolve around the idea of being a mercenary and you serve those who pay more and you can just barely live off by the payment you get, but Armored Core is the embodiment of this idea. Here, you can take every mission because the game watches which missions you take, and the very vague story will go down onto another direction. And if you fail a mission too many times, it disappears. Though the ending mission will always be the same, no matter what you do. And this ending mission is... you know what? I will get to back this one later, because I have things to say about the last mission. But you may be in a mercenary group, that being Raven, but even then, they don't pay for your repairs or ammo, it's all up to you. If you were dumb and rushed in at 10 enemies and just barely made it out alive, that's on you. You might feel like that, but the repair cost could be bigger than the payout for the mission. Same goes for the ammo. If you waste too many, you can end up in bankruptcy really fast. But I didn't go into bankruptcy because I'm pretty cool. I did go into the negatives from time to time, but never got the Human Plus scene, which I should probably talk about that. The Human Plus program acts as a soft reset in the game, and it appears when you reach minus 50,000 credits. And when you do that, you get a cutscene and the game resets to the beginning, but you get to keep all your items and get a permanent upgrade. There are 8 upgrades in total in the Human Plus project, and each and every one of them makes you faster, better, stronger, but still, you have to restart the game from the very beginning. But so, even if you are really bad at the game, you can always look forward to the next Human Plus upgrade, so you can have a slightly better chance against the enemies. But if you are not a complete bipedal disaster, then you will earn credits and you can buy and build your own giant robot. And I named mine Fezo, and Fezo stands for FUCK! Ellie almost turned into a zombie! Oh no! And with that, the gameplay begins. You can choose your starting mission and you get a brief explanation of your goals and the plot behind it. Most of the missions are about eliminating a certain target or targets, or destroying or defending something, and while I know it doesn't sound like there is variety in the gameplay, believe me when I say, there is. Because I was constantly surprised by the different locations and the twists that the game provides. There is a mission where you have to defend the truck from terrorists, but also a mission where you have to cause as much destruction as you can, so you become the terrorist. Sometimes you aren't even fighting other mechs, but these little bugged things that require a different weapon, because most of the weapons only lock onto robots but not organisms. But you know what was the top 3 missions that stood out for me? Of course you do. The one where you have to blow up 5 gas containers and the gas is leaking and damages your armor, and the one where you have another Raven ask you to help him on a mission, but it turns out his real mission was to kill you. Oh my god! And the very last mission, which I still won't talk about just yet. So, even with the PlayStation 1's limited power, it can look really good and atmospheric, and certain missions have some sort of twists at the end that you can't really prepare in advance. Like the one where other Raven aces appear out of nowhere and they are against you. You might be working under the same brand, but if you get hired by Chrome and another AC by Murokamo Millennium, then there are a big chance that you are going to fight each other. And while other random robot enemies can get hard to beat, when a ranked AC appears, you know you have to switch gears in your head and fight with tactics you don't even know that existed before. Because ranked ACs usually appear at the very end of the mission, where you most likely went through most of your ammo and armor, so you have to be careful not to die in these situations. Sure, you can just use your laser blade, which doesn't cost you ammo, but you have to get real close to the enemy. Like, real close. I'm talking about this close. And good luck getting this close to the Devastator. So, you have your armored core and you have your mission, and you managed to finish that said mission. What can you do with the money you made? You can spend all of it in the shop, of course. When you are buying parts for your mech, you have to pay attention to the energy outlet your AC can provide, and to the weight you can put on any particular leg. Like for example the bipedal legs I use, while can handle high caliber weapons, you have to stand still, which makes you a perfect target to every straight missile. But if you for example buy a tank leg, then while being a lot slower, you can use any high caliber mounted weapons on your shoulder while moving. There are a lot of these little nuances that you have to pay attention to. And at first it can sound daunting, but for my experience it's not that daunting, it's more frustrating. Because while you are in the shop you can't check the stats of your current parts, so if you want to compare the parts you have to the one you want to buy, then you have to navigate back to the different menu in the garage to look at the specs of your mech and then switch off or not switch off, which can be a really pain in the ass, to be honest. And there are a lot of combinations for your mech. I stayed with the basic gun in one hand, rockets on the shoulder build, but you have laser guns, high caliber guns, snipers, bazookas, and the same variety goes for the shoulder weapon too. And also for the legs, cores and arms. It's amazing how many different ACs you can build in this game. I did some math and it turns out there is shit ton. So I guess you will find your own AC that suits your style. So practically this is the whole game. You pick up your mission, you do your best to complete them, while an amazing soundtrack plays in the background. It's really rare for me to actually notice a BGM in video games, but when the BGM is so good that it stands out to me, I know it will be an instant favorite, like Fly from the finale of Yakuza 3 or the ice climbing Crash to Insanity. And in Armored Core there were multiple occasions when I got my head up from the desk because the music was so goddamn good. I never heard any PlayStation 1 title have this much epicness in their music. It's heavily futuristic, metallic and electronic, and from this description you can probably tell I know nothing about music. It just sounds cool, okay? But there is one thing that doesn't sound cool at all. The controls of this game. Like I said, Armored Core was released in 1997 and that already brings a huge issue with the game. The controls are more difficult than lifting 200 kgs. So let me get this straight. You move with the D-pad forward and backwards. You turn left and right with the D-pad too. You run left and run right with L1 and R1. You look up and down with L2 and R2. You jump and boost with X. You shoot with square. You change your weapons with triangle. And you use your laser blade with circle. And sure, after already getting halfway through the game, I got kinda used to it, but at that point it was kinda pointless, wasn't it? I don't know if other AC games will have this kind of controls, but I hope not. Shooting them flying enemies with this is nowhere near fun, and the turning on your mech is worse than on a tractor. And combining with the last mission of the game, it's just a pain in the eye. It hurts. So finally, let's talk about the last mission of the game. Imagine jumping from one moving cube to another while they have turrets on top and on the bottom, and halfway up there, a mech appears out of nowhere who nukes you down all the way to the bottom and flies really, really fast so you can't even shoot him down. So, yeah, it was just not good. Oh my god, I hate that mission. I still don't understand why From Software wants to make a platformer game out of every single game they make. Every game they make, they have a platforming section where you have to make precise jump, but in the end you end up failing because the game was just not built for that. Have you ever tried eating chili con carne with chopsticks? Yeah, it actually feels like that. Sure, if you really try your best, you can make it work, but ultimately, it was just not made for that. Even if you manage to get to the top, you have to face 9ball, the #1 ranked AC from Ravens. He's super fast and super strong, and I got chickened away and just run for my life because it turns out you don't really have to defeat him. So I ran away and I found another 9ball. What the fuck? How can 9ball be twice? That's like impossible, right? So after 3 more hours of trying, I somehow make him kill himself and I could finally finish the game. After you are done, you can go back and play every mission you missed, no thank you, and you can play multiplayer, which I didn't because I have no friends. So Armored Core 1. It was surprisingly good and content-packed for a 1997 first title in a new series. There were some miserable parts, that being the navigation in the shop and the garage, but other than that it was amazing. Even the last mission was a type 2 fun. Actually, after finishing the game, I wanted to buy a copy of the game because I just really liked it, and I thought it would be cool to have it, but oh my Jesus! How much is that? Do I really have to choose if I want to continue university or want to play a PlayStation 1 game? So guess what? I didn't buy it. Instead, I went to Armored Core Project Phantasma, the expansion for the base game. But how do you get Project Phantasma? You take the base game and import every asset, gameplay and controls, you cut out the tree-like mission structure, you add an actual followable story with actual characters and interactions between them, and you make it linear. And if you are like me and liked the base game because of the mercenary feeling and the fact that if you can do a mission you can always choose a different one and keep progressing, then stay the hell away from Project Phantasma. This is a story-oriented expansion, which means the maximum mission you can choose from at once is 2. And even then, you have to do the other one anyway, so it just gives you the impression of choosing. And with great story comes great responsibilities, or how does that famous quote goes. So if you want to tell a good story, you have to have good characters. And to be fair, Project Phantasma have more named and talking characters than the base game. But I just hate everyone. Sumika, the bitch you save during one of the earlier missions, does nothing but she just bosses you around and tries to kill you. I mean, look, she clearly has a working and ready to fight mech, but she drops you into the bunker full of enemies, and when you get to your destination she just appears and hacks something inside the room while she lets you fight dozens of robots. And when she is done, she does not help you escape. She just appears again after you fought yourself out. I saved your bloody ass because you were too much of a pushover to escape on your own. I'm calling it right here. You heard it here first, on the Moxland channel, that Sumika will be the final boss of Armored Core 6. Oh, and talking about final bosses, we have one right here. Stinger. He taunts you and he calls you out to fight about every 3 missions, and I think they made him a little too powerful in the first half. I mean, I get it, this is a From Software game and they are hard, but they are never unfair. But Stinger is just an unfair goddamn mother Stinger. In the 3rd mission or so, you have to fight him for the first time, and at that point, you can't really buy any meaningful gear, so he just annihilates you over and over again. And after a while, I sold everything I could so I can buy a bazooka. Oh no, silly you. Not a kazooka, a bazooka. Because I thought the best defense is offense, right? So if I kill him before he can kill me, then it could work, right? Right? It actually did, but I don't wish this fight to anyone. But why are we fighting this Stinger guy in the first place? Like I said, we actually have a story told normally, not in the From Software style, and it's It's as basic as you can get. You are a raven. There is this organization called Doomsday Organization, which is just the most evil name you can choose for your company. I mean, at this point you can just call it I want to destroy the world co. And they capture Sumika, the lovely lady I just mentioned, and after you free her, you hunt down this super weapon called Project Phantasma. And you hunt them down and you fight Stinger in Project Phantasma, and to be fair, this last boss fight is actually really good. This was the best part of the whole game, and I'm not just saying this because it was finally over. You get a clear indication that this is going to be the final mission, and you can spend all your credits on weapons and armor. So I got myself a really cool shoulder-mounted rocket launcher and killed Stinger with it, because I finally could do something against him, because Project Phantasma isn't strong. It can deal a lot of damage, sure, but it's big and it's slow, so hitting it is no problem. And the fight itself was actually pretty fun, and I'm not just comparing it to the base game's final mission. It wasn't hard, but at least it was intense, which, saying out loud, is weird a combination, but that's just how it is. So yeah, this is Armored Core Project Phantasma. If you want to play this anyway, then go ahead, I can't stop you, but I really don't recommend wasting your time on this expansion at all. It has more advanced mission structures, like when you have to open gates overground so you can progress in the bunker underground, but for the most part it's just frustrating, and you know what, I'm going to say it. I don't care. Project Phantasma is a bad game.
So, you've come.
So, what's next? Master of Arena. Please tell me this is going to be good, or else I'm going to do a handstand push-up up on a volcano and jump down into it. Oh my god. So, after Project Phantasma, I was really scared of Master of Arena. I'm going to be honest, I didn't want to play this game at all. So, what do I think about this game? It's, dare I say, it's actually better than the main game. Yeah, just hear me out. Master of Arena was released in 1999, and yet again, you are a raven fighting for justice. And you have a vendetta against Hassler 1, the pilot of Nineball. You know, the final mech you fought in the main game? Twice? Yeah, that guy. So, he is your main enemy here, and the only way you can get to him is through the arena. The arena is a place where AC pilots can fight each other for clout and ranking and, of course, money. The amount of money you get after winning in this is unheard of in the other games. I got to 1 million credits at one point. 1 million! You can buy the whole shop with that, and no, I did not save and reload it all the time I lose. You just don't lose any money when you lose in the arena. It's amazing! I don't know, it's just so fun to finally go all out after 2 games of poverty. Though, before you can jump into the arena, you need a sponsor. Well, this turned pretty real all of a sudden. Without a sponsor, you cut yourself out from the opportunity to make money. And to get to the attention of your sponsor, you need to do missions to prove yourself. Why does this feel so real? The main gameplay and the controls stayed exactly the same as before, and you still got your same mission structure. But the missions are not that long as in the main game and not that bullshit as in Project Phantasma. But the mission structure is the same, though not as varied, and just like in the main game, sometimes there are ranked ACs appearing at the end of the mission, which was amazing, I love it! Finally, we are back to the good Armored Core after Project Phantasma. Did I say I love this game? Because I love this game. But you know what I don't like? This mission right here. You need to defend the submarine, but obviously you can't fall into the water, fair enough. But the boat next to you can shoot rockets at you, and you can't see a damn thing, and it pushes you into the water. And there is a 20-second long cutscene at the beginning of the mission? Why? It took me like 5 tries to figure out you can fly to the ship attacking you. But after you get a sponsor, This video was sponsored by ProcTech. Gamers, do you also hate it when giant tech companies are controlling the world from the shadows and all you can do is watch hopelessly? Yes, I do. Worry not, because ProcTech is here to save the day. ProcTech is developing mech parts like arms, legs and weapons. They have been on the market long enough to know what you need and when you need it. They prioritize your needs when it comes to building your own mech. Their weapons are more deadlier than a chainsaw nunchaku, and their AC legs are faster and more durable than a netherite sword. And they were kind enough to sponsor this channel and give you 20% off of your next order. Use the link in the description or use the code MAX20 in the checkout to get 20% off of your next order. ProgTech. Progression is the only option. Thank you to ProgTech for sponsoring this episode. Back to the show. So, like I said, after you get your sponsor, you can get into the sub-arena and grind there to maybe get into the actual main arena. But after the space suddenly gets free, you get an invitation to the main arena, and on top of the arena sits 9 balls. To be honest, I only had trouble with 2 or 3 of these 1v1s because the game lets you choose the map you want to fight on, and after I realized the parking lot is the perfect place for me because your enemy can't fly away where you can't hit them, I just choose the parking lot every single time. And if you call me a cheater, I will call your mom. So, this was the first generation of Armored Core. It was mostly good, but having a 66.6% success rate isn't that shining, is it? The main game is amazing and it still holds up to this day, and I can see why and how this franchise became so loved. At least if it keeps the core ideas and improves on it in later games. The 2 expansions are skippable because while Master of Arena is a lot of fun and you get to know how there are 2 9 balls at the end of the main game, it's not that different from the main game to justify playing it if you just want to try Armored Core. And Project Phantasma? You don't have to play it at all. Don't even talk about it because From Software will think it's a good game and will like it and make Armored Core 6 like Project Phantasma. So, if you are waiting for Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, then like the video and subscribe. It would really help. But if you are not waiting for Armored Core 6, then also like and subscribe because it would still help and I do other stuff and not just Armored Core. But with that being said, have a nice day and bye!